A most unlikely car to find in the yard today, MG4 X-Power.
The MG4 X-Power in a kind of monochrome Kermit. I've been saying for a very long time that electric cars are indeed the future, and so I welcome any kind of car, regardless of colour or brand, to my channel. So this one in particular, being an MG, and it is a proper MG, not just a Chinese copy, is of particular interest to me. New cars, eh? Generally I'm not keen on new cars. They have rather awkward styling, and this one, it certainly has styling. It does look quite individual. It looks a bit like a massive green lozenge to me with Darth Vader's chin on the go. Look, look. That's Darth Vader, isn't it? Come on. That's what that's designed to look like. The lines all appear to be agreeing with each other, not arguing. If this was a Toyota, there'd be a fight on the go at the moment because the back end would be disagreeing with the front. This lamp cluster thing here looks a bit like a shelf, but then the angle of this just sloping off there means you can't really use it. And you wouldn't want to because it would scratch the plastic. Rear boot spoiler. It's a bit like wearing two baseball caps at the same time. The Darth Vader theme seems to be evident at the back ever so slightly. It's like a calmer, nicer, more, well, acceptable and motherly like Darth Vader instead. The alloy wheels are rather striking. What's even more striking are the orange calipers. Caliper covers. They do look quite good from a distance, and so does the car. The car does look a bit like a futuristic sketch on a pad that's been coloured in properly and had the wheels added rather than them silly cambered things where you couldn't possibly drive them. Stance, that's it. I could imagine a drawing of this car originally with looking exactly like that, but with these wheels that stick out to the side. Who would have thought that was a good idea? This is probably considered to be an ordinary sized car these days, but to me it just looks really rather wide. There's the fuel filler flap. That's where you put the diesel. Looks like it's been drawn by someone who designs trainers. What this car makes me think of the most is actually a Peugeot. If you took off the MG badge and bunged on a Peugeot badge, who would know the difference? Now, let's look inside. Nice heavy door sound. It's very dark in here. It's exactly what I was expecting it to look like, but just really incredibly dark. We have some nice details like the Alcantara on the door card there. Quite nice plastic feel. I reckon the whole dash kind of, yeah, all feels rather solid indeed. Nice shiny black bits, nice horn works even when the engine's not running. Well, no, the engine's never running, is it? Central display thingy, and what I'm looking for here are the heater controls, and I've got a feeling you have to use this to put the blowers on. The interiors are rather nice actually. Nicely sculptured seats from pretend leather and Alcantara. Any car, at some point, you've got to get into the back. And although it's a flat floor, it's there's not a massive amount of leg room. And this huge lip to step over, I mean, it makes the car safe, but gosh, that's big. The boot's very, very dark, but it's also, well, it's not too big, really. I mean, it's a reasonable length, but because electric cars never seem to have big boots, do they? That's because there's so much space being taken up by something else. And the car suddenly started talking to me then as well. This colour paint's quite curious because it looks almost like it's plastic. There's a nice bit of space in here though. I mean, that's a nice cubby hole there. There's somewhere to charge your phone. Whether your phone will stay there or not whilst you charge it or not, I don't know. Central display is somewhat obscured by the steering wheel. Not from this angle, but from my angle. which is there, you can see that it is. Steering wheel feels nice and soft and not particularly round, but it does follow the design of the exterior. No, I like these vents actually. Oh, well, actually, I like the vents. That does have a bit of a flimsiness to it that I wasn't quite expecting. It's definitely built for safety. This looks like a really, really heavy duty tub. Okay, yeah, right. Now, secretly, I'm not actually a fan of electric cars, but I am a fan of just driving anything that comes my way. And this has come my way, and I'm promised it's fairly quick. One thing I'll say about this car straight away is an awful lot of blind spots everywhere. Very thick pillars, A pillars, well, it's going to be quite thick, but the B pillar particularly thick indeed. As you'd expect, it just drives along like an ordinary car, except that I feel somewhat like I'm driving in the past. And that might sound like a rather silly thing to say because I'm in a brand new electric car. But what I mean is, everything around me looks like it's in the past. Not this. This feels like it's in the future. But it's in the present, which is... But what I'm noticing, there's a bit of braking going on straight away. It's almost like the brakes are binding. Because as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator pedal, it's slowing down an awful lot all by itself. Now, are the brake lights activated with that, or are they not? Because if they are, that could give the wrong impression to the people behind you. And can you switch it off? It has a one pedal thingy where if you're not pressing the accelerator, the brakes are coming on by themselves. It feels a bit like that's going on, but apparently that's not actually activated at the moment. Is the aircon any good? How does it drive? Like everything else, really. All cars drive the same these days. That's one of the problems with them. And this, you know, one of the promises is that it's a very fast car. But, I mean, really, anything can be fast, can't it? I'm 54 years old. I've given up on all that kind of thing. I'm not really interested. Whoa! Me!
Camera slip there.
Oh wow, that is supercar quick. Should I do that again? Jesus Christ!
Hang on, you're not in sports mode yet?
Am I not?
No.
How'd you put it in sports mode? Is it really necessary? Right, okay, so that was reasonably nippy, I'd say. But then there is another step up from this as well. And that's sports mode, but I don't think I want to do it just yet whilst those people are there. So I'm actually going way under the limit here, just in case somebody steps out. What you need is a little bit of a straight to get going on like this. Right, I've driven some fast cars. I've driven V8s, I've driven like Audi DSG gearbox S4s and stuff like that, twin turbo thingies. But this is a step above that. But I'm satisfied now. I'm not going to do that again, so you can relax. Yeah, that's highly impressive indeed. Okay. One thing I did notice, I was careful not to just plant it whilst coming off the roundabout, because, you know, in most cars you do that, you're going to get some sort of loss of traction. Rear wheel drive, if you've got lots of power, could send you off the road, spinning into a hedge that you didn't plan on spinning into. Front wheel drive, scrabbling into the hedge on the opposite side of the road. But this just did seem to grip. But with that amount of power, I can't see that you'd get away with doing it all the time. And I'm not even going to attempt it. Because one thing about this car is it's an electric car. It's supposed to save you money. How much money are you going to be saving if you're booting it like that everywhere you go? I'd imagine not very much at all. Now the chap who owns this car paid £11,000 less than what it was brand new. Brand new was about £38,000. So the previous owner lost £11,000 in depreciation, covering only 800 miles. That is not cheap motoring. Not at all. Gosh, that's ugly.
It's a roller. I thought it was a Land Rover.
It looks like a London taxi. Now, why did electric cars become popular in the first place? Couple of reasons. One is that we were told that, you know, they're better for the environment. Let's not get into that argument. The other is that Tesla made them fast. And I believe that electric cars suddenly become popular because people wanted power. They wanted all the things that a fast petrol car could give you, but more. And that was available with that instant torque, just like we've seen there. Saved the planet by going incredibly fast. That's the solution. But is it the answer? And why are these windows steaming up? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's too hot in here. Anyway, there we go. That's this car. So as I drive it back to the yard, I can also report that it does handle very well and it steers very nicely and it's very easy to place on the road. It looks really wide from the outside, but on the inside it kind of doesn't. Strange that, eh? Still quite get used to these brakes. The feel of them, they're a bit too sharp. But then again, I'm used to driving around things like sort of 20 or 30 year old that you have to think about braking rather than just doing it. I'm actually using the camera rather than my eyes to figure out where to stop here. Right, that should do. Thank you.
Yeah.
The MG4 X-Power. Yeah. Well, I like it. I like its looks. I like its colour. Other colours are available, so that's not really even necessary. I actually like the fake brake calipers, which is a bit shallow of me, I know. But I might need to just reword this slightly because I like it as an electric car. The truth is, I would never have one. I'd never have one for a couple of reasons. One is that I like older cars, and the other is that I think they're a bit expensive. I know you get quite a lot for your money and you certainly get the performance. And if you want a petrol car that can pick up like that, you're going to pay more. So that's cheap. So what am I talking about? Well, I don't actually know, and that's half the trouble with me and this YouTube channel and reviewing cars like this, because I don't really know much about them, and I don't bother to find out too much about them because I'm not as interested in that car as I am in the MG from 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. I do feel like the car is very much at odds with itself, just like the Tesla, because you have this immense amount of power whilst trying to save money, budgeting whilst spending lots of money. It's just a bit of a contradiction, I think. And so my view on electric cars isn't really going to change, but I have jolly well enjoyed driving this one today. And I'll put it out there that I don't care what car you have. I'd happily have a go of it because I'm interested to see what it's like. So as a conclusion, would I recommend that you buy this car? Well, not this one because it's not for sale. And the answer is, well, that's up to you. That's your opinion. Your opinion is more important than mine when it comes to purchasing your car. Okay, thank you. I am really pleased I drove that car and getting a lasting impression from this car because that acceleration was ferocious. It was supercar quick, but even more than supercar because apparently it's something like 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. So you could call it the supermarket supercar for the price of £38,000, which is a lot of money. You're going to have to pay 10 times that to get something that can keep up with it. Good old MG. Yeah, that makes me like MG again.